Yeah. Clear it all away. Yeah. Clearing it all away. Needed some house cleaning. Yeah. Throwing out all the fakes. Needed some house cleaning. Dust them up. Let's leave them off to the garbage truck. First place, you just running up. Got a problem, then you can just run up. Nigga running up. Yeah. Clearing it all away. Needed some house cleaning. Yeah. Throwing out all the fakes. Needed some house cleaning. Dust them up. Let's leave them off to the garbage truck. First place, you just running up. Got a problem, then you can just run up. Nigga running up.
I left the paper matches in my house, didn't think they would burn it down. Now there's nobody else around. They want my TD, ain't no something found. So much fake love, I am scared of the real. Make that mistake to consider how you feel, yeah. You don't wanna be the greatest you can be, you just wanna be greater than me. Soon as I see the key to unlock my greatness, you was quick to just bury it deep. I've been social distancing before there was a COVID-19. Y'all sick, put the mask on when I let it sing. Can't be still running like the Tiger King, see. Underline of someone's value is from the bottom of the core. But don't undermine who you spend time with, they're the ones you're gonna exhort. Constantly copy no games like Kirby. Came from the bottom, now I'm border like Curry. Get to the fame, now everybody thirsty. Whole town's on my back like a wool jersey. Clearing it all away, needed some house cleaning. Throwing out all the fakes, needed some house cleaning. Dust them up, then sweep them off to the garbage truck. First place, you just run it up. Got a problem, then you can just run on up. Just run on up.
Yeah, clearing it all away, needed some house cleaning. Yeah, throwing out all the fakes, needed some house cleaning. Dust them up, then sweep them off to the garbage truck. First place, you just run it up. Got a problem, then you can just run it up. Running up.
Insecure dummies wanna hate me cause I'm pure. And it's pretty trying to get in my sheets. Oh, she's yours. But I got a queen and they hate that too. Bunny on a post like we love y'all too. They wait on the end point, don't wear your cute. X can't find the legs, hypotenuse. I'm abuse y'all view. Life was too short to be dealing with y'all. They love the rise with feet for the fall. They see this and say your goals are too far. But what's far for a giant when one step past the mall? Your revenue don't stand to my foundation. And then they circle you into a pyramid manipulation. When we cut ties, ain't no glass eyes. Just go by and have blessed lives. You was talking raw with your glass jaw. Steady talking more than what you asked for. In this sun, I should've foresaw. It's attraction I can't outlaw. But to teach y'all, this is free fall. Living fake lies to the recall.
Yeah, clearing it all away. Needed some house cleaning. Yeah, throwing out all the fakes. Needed some house cleaning. Dust them up. Then sweep them off to the garbage truck. First place, you just run up. Got a problem, then you can just run up. You can run up. Yeah, clearing it all away. Needed some house cleaning. Yeah, throwing out all the fakes. Needed some house cleaning. Dust them up. Then sweep them off to the garbage truck. First place, you just run up. Got a problem, then you can just run up. You can run up. You can just run up.
Yeah. All right. Doing some house cleaning. Listen, hello, how's everyone out there doing? Listen, you have just tuned in to Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, let's chat. We are excited. You know, I stay excited when I'm on the air with you guys. Listen, how you doing? You know, this is Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, let's chat. But we have the Brave Brothers in the chat. We have the Brave Brothers stopping by all the time. So our ladies, we embrace them. And so tonight, I tell you, I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this show. I've been waiting, and God heard my prayer. Listen, Bravo is to build you up, to enrich you, to get you from a place of pain, right? Just moving you from pain to power, and from power to what? Victory. That's what we do on this channel. We just think about changing one life or how many lives, it don't matter. We're here to help you grow, to help push you into purpose, and to help you just be who God has called you to be. Tonight, we have an incredible show. I'm so excited. And, you know, I've had my family on the platform many times before, and I do try to stay professional, right? I do try to stay professional by calling them by their, you know, their name, their complete name. And then I get into the nicknames because I forget that they family. So you guys got to excuse me because I have my great niece with me tonight. And I've been waiting to talk with her and Brian. Let me tell you, when you see Brian, he is the man. God just molded and shaped him for Bri. Her name is Brianna, but we call her Bri. And so we're going to be switching back from Bri to Brianna. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. I tell you, this is going to be a great show. This is a young couple. They're believers. They're in love, and they're not all religious and all of that. They can speak to everybody. They are here to speak to their generation and to those of us that will listen. I'm telling you, this is a power couple, and they didn't come together, like broken pieces. She fixed her life, went to college. He was somewhere else. You know how we say we got to leave the men in the oven until they're ready. Well, Brian was ready, and then they came together, not as broken pieces, because they came together and started building immediately. So I'm going to bring them to the platform. I tell you, I am so excited. Let's just open up Bravo real quick with an opener, and then we're going to get right into this Power Pack show. And we're back. We are back.
Hello.
Hi. You guys laughing at your auntie?
Yes.
We are enjoying every minute of this.
Yes. An amazing introduction. We love the introduction. The introduction is crazy.
Well, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
You're doing good. You're doing well. You've been busy. You are doing things together. I tell you, it's so much to talk about. Hey, guys in the chat, we got Sir Hale Speaks. This is like my nephew. He's like my nephew, my brother, kind of like a mentor. He's a young guy with an old soul. Sir Hale is in the building. Sir Hale is in the building. Hi, Sir Hale. Oh my God. He says peace and blessings to everyone. Vaughn Eric, he's been rocking with me for the last few weeks. Oh, thank you, Vaughn, for being here. And the main Bravette, the original Bravette, and Nay is in the house. Oh God. And Nay, let me see, where is Nay? And Nay is in the house. She's greeting everyone. She is the original Bravette. She has been traveling these streets, these YouTube streets with me from the beginning. If it's one person that's here, she's here, either on the ministry channel or this channel. And then we got the other Bravettes coming in. We got the other Bravettes. Let me see who I have down there. You guys, we got my co-host. She's like taking a break tonight. Dawn B is my co-host. She's usually on stage with me every Tuesday and every Thursday. She adopted me as her aunt, and I adopted her as my niece. But she said, Auntie, I'm just going to chill in the chat and take some notes from the master. She calls me the master. I don't think that, but she thinks I am. Oh my goodness. And then Ine is greeting you guys. She's saying, hey, the Brian and Bri show. Listen, we have to talk about so much I just boast on these two. Let me tell you, I just don't even know where to start. So this is a double type of chat. This is a chat about entrepreneurship, right? Because it's Black History. And this is also a chat about love is in the air. I love love. I'm not in love right now, but I love love. I'm a romantic at heart, but I got to keep it on the inside until things change for me.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Things are going to happen at one point in time in life, right?
Absolutely.
But listen, I tell you, welcome to the show, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. I've been trying to get this show on for a while. We had your sister on, Bri. We had Lavelle on, and she had the chat popping with her skincare and answering questions. We just thank God we do have a talented family. And what's so great about it is the young people are moving and pushing into purpose and igniting all those things and gifts that are inside. And that's what I really love. And so tonight, I really wanted to bring you guys up to chat about your life, how this started, the journey, and some of the challenges, because we know relationship is not easy, but we know if you're on one accord and you have a goal in front of you, then anything is possible. And so the Bri and Brian, is it Bri and Brian Show or the Brian and Bri Show? Is it how is the Brian?
It's the boss's show.
The boss.
Yeah. Bri and Brian.
The Bri and Brian
yes.
Show.
Yes. And the Bri and Brian Show is on IG, on Instagram, and I know you guys are going to be on other platforms because I can see that in the spirit. Tell us a little bit before we even, because we're going to backpedal a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the Bri and Brian Show, where that vision came from, and what sparked you to do it. Either one of you can kind of jump in.
You want to talk?
It was very random. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was very random. We were living in Connecticut at the time. We were walking on the boardwalk. It's like a boardwalk.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like a boardwalk type situation, and it just came about like, why don't we start our own Instagram? And I'm like, huh? And she's like, yeah, let's start our own Instagram. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And it took her all of, I want to say about 10, 15 minutes.
That's Bri.
It was up. It was up. So we've been rocking with that.
Yeah. If anybody knows me, I'm more of the selfie queen. I like to take my own selfies and things of that nature. Brian likes to take whole photo shoots and things of that nature. Not really my style. Brian will stop me to take a picture any time of day. And so I think at one point he was like, we should have our own Instagram. And I kept saying, no. Like, what are we going to put? I'm an assistant principal. I can't promote that. I can't make my page public because what if my kids see it and the families? And he was just like, okay, Brianna. And so one day I was just like, we can make it, but we can make it private. So okay, we can do that. And so it took 10 minutes.
Yeah,
we were just having fun.
And that's so cute. That is so nice. And when I saw that, I was like, look at Bri. And you're right. It takes Bri every bit of 5 or 10 minutes. When she gets something, she runs with it. She sees it, and she does. She's been like that forever. You know, we give a lot of kudos to her mom, you know, and her dad, and who raised her well. You know, my niece, Cherie, I started to say Shoo, but Cherie, you know, did a lot to cultivate her children, you know, and it paid off. You know, your brother is balling and all over the place. I think he's out the country right now. Is he out the country?
He's home right now.
He's home right now. Okay, but what a basketball player he is, you know. And just kudos to, you have to give, you know, bravos to the parents, you know, because they be in the grind, you know. Parents be grinding and they sacrifice and everything, and the product. And I know your mom as well has done a lot, Brian, with you.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit much.
yeah, but you know, you see the product of, you know, what is instilled in you with principles and values, right? Absolutely. And you held on to it because your generation is like wilding. Is that word still favorable? Is that bold when I say wilding?
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, you know, what do you think about and I want you to tell us a little bit about what the Brian and Bri Show is. What do you do? What is it? If someone comes to your page and subscribes, and what happens on that page?
Date night happens.
I like it.
Yeah, date night definitely happens. Random conversation happens. TikToks happen. Reels happen.
Yes.
But it's just our life, like what we do. I mean, we don't get too personal. I mean, because it's still social media at the end of the day.
Right.
You have to have some kind of privacy. But for the most part, it's, you know, it's just us having fun. And that's what we do. It's nothing different than whatever's on there is what's happening behind the scenes. Clowns.
Yeah, it's not even one of those things. I think that a lot of people go on social media with some kind of content that they want to push out. I think for us, it is Black love and just young Black love, understanding how to respect each other. I think it's a platform for people to just get some sentiments here and there about what love looks like. I think behind the scenes, oftentimes like what we post on there may be days apart from when we actually post it, because we're literally just having fun with each other. And it's like, oh, we have something to post. It's not because we're literally saying, what should we post on social media today? It's just, we went on a date, we took some pictures, and I'm like, random, post this. Or sometimes it's like my love letter to him for the day. So sometimes he doesn't even know I'm going to post something until I tag him in it. And I'm talking about him. It could be that we're in a car together, he's driving, and I'm just so in love that, you know, I'm like, oh, I love you today. And vice versa. I think that there's times when I look on it, I'm like, oh, where did this come from? I didn't post that. And it's him saying something. So yeah, it was more for us than anybody else, but definitely to add to the love story, as we do think that we've had plenty of conversations, I think, being together and then starting off as friends about what love looks like. And the lack thereof for our generation. And so being able to put that out there is like, there are people that still, chivalry is not dead. I will say that.
Yes. So let's talk about this a little bit more. Your sister just popped in, said, "Hey, lovebirds."
Yes.
Hi, Lele.
Lele is in the house. Lavelle is in the house. Thank you for being here, Lavelle. So listen, so I love that concept. I love that it's not scripted.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what makes it so authentic. Right. And it shows that you're not covering anything. It shows purely where you are in your life right now. And like you said, it shows, you know, that you can be, and this is not just for your generation. Love is love, right?
Yeah.
And you can love is love, period. And when you can see it, it gives people hope. It gives people who are desiring help. And it also gives women and men, your generation, to understand what it looks like. You know, what this should look like. Right. Because there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of modern day women who can't even talk like you're speaking in terms of saying they love their mate. And, you know, and no, I'm just saying that it's a lot going on. And there's a lot of chatter about the modern day woman and how it seems like everything, not everything, but many things that were in place for a relationship has just dissolved, right? It's no substance. It's no structure. It's just nothing. And so I wanted you guys to come on just to talk about that. So we'll come back to that. So like I said tonight, thank you guys, all of you that are in the bleachers. I see some of you in the bleachers and those of you in the chat. It's okay to be in the bleachers. I'm all right with that. And so tonight we're talking about love is in the air. We're talking about love is in the air. And we're talking about entrepreneurship because these are two entrepreneurs. Brian has this dope clothing line. Oh my God. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Oh my goodness. I've been sending links to people in other countries like, look, you know, don't. So the beginning of your journey, let's go back. So I know more about Bri than I know about Brian, although I know about Brian because he's always at the family functions and stuff, and he is part of us. So Brian, let's talk about the Bible says the man that findeth a wife, you know, though you're on your way. Find it for a good thing. So what was it that attracted you to Brianna? What was it, and how long were you around her? When did that thing happen, that connection?
No, please stop. Okay.
Oh boy.
I met Bri 6 years ago. So I worked at True Religion. We both worked at True Religion together.
What is True Religion?
Oh, it's a clothing store.
Okay.
So this is about 6 years ago, maybe seven, almost 7 now. I got hired there, excuse me. And I think it was like my second day working. She walked through the door and automatically I was just like, I'm going to be with her. Like, this is the girl I'm going to be with. I know it for sure. But this before I even said anything to her. I didn't even speak to her the first day actually I saw her because I didn't really know her like that. And I'm not the type to just be very forward with women. Like, I'm very cautious, you know, my pride. But so I don't do stuff like that. But when she walked through the door, I was like, this is gonna be my girl. Like, I'm gonna marry her. Like,
was it the way she moved? Was it her posture? Was it her confidence? What was it that, because some, you know, those ingredients attract.
At first sight.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It was she didn't do anything. She just walked through the door. And when I saw her, I was like, it was just a feeling. I can't even explain the feeling to you, but it's a very, very, I don't want to call it weird, but it's a very different feeling.
Lavelle said it was love at first sight.
That's what she said.
Because you believe in love at first sight, right? That exists.
Yeah, that exists. And if it didn't exist, I knew then.
Continue.
Sure. Yeah, so we were working together, and actually I was in a relationship at the time, a bad relationship, going through it. And I used to be on the floor. I'm like, yo, I had a friend named Keisha. She worked at the job with us, and she knew me and Brianna. I was like, yo, who is that girl? Like, who is she? She's like, oh, that's Brianna. I'm like, Brianna pretty. I like Brianna nice. You know what I'm saying? And not in a lustful way. Just
I get it.
You know, she's just bad to me. Like I love the way she carries herself and everything. So I didn't hear her speak. Then she started talking, and I'm like, okay, she's intelligent. I like that too. And then we didn't get a chance to know each other that much, like get to learn each other that much at the job. It was more like a thing. I come to work, I'll tease her about. I used to always tell her, I'm like, you too pretty to be on the sales floor. You don't do nothing. All you do is fold clothes all day.
No. Let's tell the truth here.
Right,
he did not think I should be working at that job. He thought I was lazy, that I didn't want to work. I mean, I didn't. Let's be very honest. I did not like talking to people at True Religion. I'll be very honest with you. I like to do stock room stuff. Tell me to fold the clothes and put them in a pile. I'm very organized. Yeah. But
when the people come around, Bri is like
gone. I was gone.
I'm messing with no people. It's not what I'm here for.
I was like, what you working here for?
Yeah. So I don't remember how long we stayed at True Religion. I think it was for like a year, maybe. I stayed there for like a year because she was already there before I got there. So after that, the store closed down after we left, and on the way out, I think she quit. She quit, or you left before? Mm-hmm. Yeah, before the store closed down, I was still working there, and I was begging my friend. I'm like, please give me Brianna's number, please. She's like, no. You get out of that mess you in, and then we could talk. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't speak to her for months, and then I went under Keisha's page one day, and I found her on Instagram. And I was like, yes.
There she is.
Yes, she is. I followed her. From there, I slid in her DMs. Uh-huh. And I asked her for her number. She wouldn't give me her number at first. I gave her mine. And I just kept talking. But I was persistent. And I made sure. And I always said, and like fast forward, like after that, I always said, once I get out of this relationship, if it's not Brianna, it ain't gonna be nobody. I'ma just date around. It won't be anybody. That's how much faith I had in the relationship like that we had, and then it was a friendship because we would talk on the phone hours, and it wasn't. And I'm gonna be very clear. There was no lustful kind of conversation. It was always just good conversation. Like, what's going on with life? What's your love life like? What's your family like? I see you on Instagram, but I can only imagine because like your family's a lot like mine. I should tell her these things. So that was our conversation, and this went on for about up to date for about 4 years before we started dating.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that is awesome. I mean, what a friendship. That's so important. That piece. People skip over the friendship, the foundational groundwork of friendship.
Now, also, here's the thing. I've always dated, but I never became friends with somebody that I dated. Me and Bri were friends for so long.
Yes, you see the difference, though.
Like, yo, and you know how, like, you could be friends with somebody, but they always like, dang, what if I don't want to take this step because it might mess up the friendship. She had said that to me, and I told her, I was like, well, you have my word. If it doesn't work out, I'm never going to turn my back on you. Like, we still going to be friends. Because I just cared that much about her, and I still do more now. But that's what it was for me. And I was just like, I'm not gonna move on until we have to be together. This is gonna happen. It was too vivid, and throughout all the years, I was so persistent. I always kept in contact with me. If she didn't speak to me for like a month or so, she was calling me like, "Yo, you acting different. You acting new." I'm like, Dad, you waited a month to tell me that? But okay, cool. It's great. So fast forward a year and a half ago now, I used to always call her and I used to say to her, before I got off the phone, I would always be like, what's your love life like? She'd be like, what love life? I ain't got no love life.
Yeah, so Bri.
Yeah, right. So
the whole family knows. Yeah, Bri might have had a boyfriend.
So Auntie, listen, this is over about 4 or 5 years. Every time we get on the phone before we get off, that is a conversation that we have. Like, that's a question I ask. So the very last time, I had moved from New York. I was living in Brooklyn at the time. I had moved to Jersey. And I was living in an apartment by myself just to get my brain. I was in a, it wasn't the best relationship. We're not going to get into that because there's no room for that.
Oh, no.
But, sometimes you have to get away and really detox.
Right.
Right. So I sat alone for about a year, actually more than 2 years, 2 years. And I called Bri one day. We were on the phone and I was like, what's your love life like before you got off the phone? So she goes into this whole, I just don't know. Guys are just so crazy. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Okay. So as soon as when she's done, before she get off the phone, I'm like, so what about me? I said, you never gave me a shot. I was like, I've been persistent with you throughout all these years. I've been patient.
And I still said no.
And she still said no. Yeah.
I still said no. It took for him to actually DM me while I was in church because he left to DM me while I was in church on Sunday.
Yes.
That was the problem. Oh, you in church? You better be in church. Oh, Brian, why are you not in church? That was my. You want to text me while I'm in church?
Yes.
Your behind should be in church too. I'm like, try to listen to the sermon and you're distracting. True. Okay.
Very true.
But he was like, oh, so you're just really not going to give me a chance? And I was like, you know what? We can try. He was like, we could what? We could try. We could try. We could try. Sure.
Auntie?
Like, yes.
She said, let's meet downtown. I think it was like the next day. Mm-hmm. I was downtown the next day. Wait, I was not playing. I had to let her know I'm very serious about what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You. So we went downtown. We went to what is the thing called?
The High Line.
The High Line down the Meatpacking District, that long old railroad type situation. And we sat there for hours and just talked till it was nighttime. Afterwards, I walked her back to her car and I walked to mine. I got home. I called her that night and we stayed on the phone, like just talking.
Wow, that's amazing. Let me put up this comment that Vaughn, we go back and forth. Vaughn says, spiritual connection. He said, spiritual connection. No man can separate when this yoked together like male and female. He's saying that's what you felt.
Yeah.
You felt that spiritual connection. You couldn't put it in words, but it was this different merging that you had never felt. So it was that spiritual connection. And I mean, bravo to you for being that perfect gentleman and allowing her to be comfortable enough to accept you. And for you to be aware enough to know, I just got out of something. Let me dump some stuff. Let me take some layers off. Let me get my head right. So that you could come pure into this relationship with her. So Ine says, wow, nice. So Bri, let me hear a little bit from you about when you don't have to elaborate long, but you can tell what you didn't notice him when you walked in the store. Well, no, did you or did you not?
I noticed him, but I already knew about him kind of sort of because, word gets around the store. And so for me, it wasn't that I knew him like that. Like there wasn't word going around the store in a bad way, but it was a small store. I think there was probably like 10 employees, if that. So it was really small. So when I first got there, they were just naming for me who was there, girl talk at the register. And I'm just like, okay. But to me, I keep to myself. I'm not one to sit there and gossip and talk about men and what they don't do. And that's just not who I am. So I just sat and listened. I'm like, okay. And everybody, oh, who you like? I'm like, guys, I'm really not here for that. Like at that point in time, I've never been driven by men or boys or whatever. So like for me, it was just like, oh, I don't know. Like I've never seen these people before. Me and Brian actually haven't worked the same shift. I think I worked there a month or two and we never had the same shift together. So I've never seen him before other than probably that day that he walked in.
Oh, okay.
I came in and he was there and I was like, oh, hey, but it wasn't, anything that I was like, looking for, I guess, at that point in time. So I didn't think nothing of it. When he hit me up in a DM that day, I was just like, oh, okay, I used to work with him. Hey, what's up? What's new? I do the same thing with a ton of my peers that I've known from college or high school or whatever. So for me, it was just like, oh, he wants to catch up, or it's social media. I don't take social media seriously. So I'm just like, oh, okay. He probably saw me, close friends or whatever, and requested me. So it was like, okay.
It was actually a comment you put on the Keisha's page.
Oh, well, great. So I accepted it. He came in my DM just asking like how I was doing and things of that nature. He asked me for my number and I was like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that right now. but we kept talking. He was persistent, but the conversations were great. So I think that our morals and everything about us just aligned. Like they just clicked.
Yes.
I could talk to him about anything, and I just knew that he wasn't going to down shame me or disrespect me in any capacity. It was always good and fruitful conversation. I mean, talking about him growing up in church, me growing up in church, what our experiences was like growing up in church. Church hurt, church pain, but also knowing that we still love God and, things of that nature. And then just in terms of just like men, like he would definitely ask me all the time, like, how's your love life going? And I'm like, what non-existent love life are you talking about?
Wait, it's the funniest part. By the way, every time I asked her that, she was like, oh, ain't nothing going on. In the back of my mind, I'm like,
I know you were.
hold on a little while longer. Just hold out.
He was so happy. And I was like, okay. But we would talk about things pertaining to our love lives and stuff like that. And it was always just good conversation. I don't think any of us downplayed the other one's predicament in the moment. It was always like, oh, okay, like this is going on. Okay, like let's talk a little bit more about how are you feeling? And it was always about how we felt. Like, I think that in our relationship has always been hearing the other person out to know how they feel. I think that in this generation, people are quick to judge, quick to respond, quick to have the nearest solution. And sometimes people just don't need that. Sometimes you just need somebody to hear you vent and then say, okay, what are you going to do about that? And leave it, like, put it back in your court to know what was the right thing to do. And I think for us, it was that. Like, oftentimes Brian would be like, okay, this is going on with your family, or this is going on with your friendships, or you don't really have somebody that you're talking to, or you're talking to an idiot because, you ran through those situations. But it's just like, okay, but you're better than that, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just having fun right now. He'll be like, okay, well, you done having fun. You let me know. So, it was
waiting.
But it was always silly. It was always a fruitful conversation. I think that we would go to sleep at wee hours in the morning sometimes, especially when we got closer to like our dating time together, like talking about just our experiences, like what do you want in a relationship? I think we started off there before we even got to dating. Like, as friends, we were saying, what do you want in a relationship? Like, what are you looking for? And I'm like, well, I'm looking for somebody that's, gonna come home. I'm not looking for somebody that's gonna be out at a nightclub because I don't like going out. So I'm not going to find somebody in a nightclub.
Right.
I gotta keep going with you to a nightclub for the rest of my life. Because I don't do nightclub. That's just not me. I'm a homebody when I'm home. Other than that, I'm a busybody. But busybody meaning I'm doing things. I'm in church.
Productive.
I'm mentoring people. I'm an assistant principal of a school. I was getting my master's at the time. Like, there's just too much that I'm doing to be worried about somebody that doesn't align with my morals and what I want in life. And so I think the same thing was for him. I think coming out of the relationship he was with, definitely respect the mother of his children and things of that nature. But I think knowing what he's been through and what he has shared with me, it was like, okay, so what are you looking for? Because oftentimes when people get out of relationships like that, they either continue to attract that type of environment or they're looking for something totally different. But I also wanted to make sure that he knew who he was before we got into this relationship so that we could continue to go in our own direction. Obviously, you come into relationships with your own experiences, whether it's from prior relationships or marriages or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I think that coming in and acknowledging what we've been through, acknowledging our traumas, it makes it better for us to communicate with each other. We don't go to sleep angry with each other any night. Like, I can, thank God, truthfully and honestly say that, like, we literally talk everything out. Like, we could have a bad day, and a bad day for us is like literally me shutting down somewhere and going to my room and crying like a little baby because he gets the emotional side of me. But other than that, it's like, all right, let's talk about it. What's going on? How are you feeling? Why are you feeling like this? What did I do to make you feel like this? Is it something that I did? Did it trigger something else? And we actually have those conversations.
That's awesome.
Before we go to sleep. I could have work the next day and it's just like, nope, we ain't going to sleep like this.
Yeah.
That's so healthy. That is so very healthy. So what a wonderful beginning. What a solid beginning. No wonder you have the relationship you have now because you did the work.
Yeah.
Right. You did the work. And see, one thing I can mention that when you have a friendship, it's like a lot of times when you omit friendship out of relationships and there becomes some type of rift in a relationship and it just goes haywire, there's nothing to bounce back to. That's why people can bring up secrets they told each other and hurt each other with words. And think about it, when you have a really good friend, you'll think 1,000 times before you say something to hurt that friend.
Absolutely.
You won't hurt that friend, you know. And and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about a regular friendship, because you respect the friendship. So if you think about it in that degree with just a regular friendship, that same implication should be definitely in an intimate relationship where the friendship, because you're gonna, even though you may want to say something, we know you can't take back words. And when you stop your tongue, that friendship rises up and say, no, I got too much respect for him. You could even break a relationship and remain friends because of the friendship.
Yes.
So that is so good to have that and to have merged that into your relationship. Bravo. I got a machine that I haven't hooked it up. I got to learn how to hook it up. And I'm going to have all these sounds. Right now, I will be clapping the hands. Yeah, I would have yay. Or I would have bravo, bravo, bravo. But I got to get somebody to help me hook this machine up. Right there, it came yesterday. That's right. All right. So I can have a little fun. But bravo. So tell me, you telling me about yourself, but being in love is I love love. Being in love, many say that love is scary, right? Because you're exposed, totally exposed, and your emotions. And I gave this scenario one time because I thought about it. I said, many people, someone can, you could you could be in a relationship or be with someone to try to build a relationship, and say you're getting intimate and you take your clothes off and that person abuses you or speaks down at you, or, it doesn't work. You could put your clothes on and walk back out the door.
Right.
But when you open up your heart and your emotions, when you are naked in your emotions, that trust is unreal. To trust somebody on that level, that my emotions is totally naked before you, because you can't dress that back up like you can pull that pants or put that dress on.
Yeah, no way.
Tell me about that feeling of being vulnerable, with your heart. I know it's easier maybe because you built such a foundation, but still you're human and you're still two different people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm going.
We're at the Bri and Brian Show, ladies and gentlemen.
So for me, my past, I've been through some really dark times in relationships that weren't healthy. And she was there through all of that, by the way. For those not to know, she was there through that whole thing, helping me through that. But for the most part, when me and Bri started dating, I always said this would be somebody I would never talk down to or disrespect. And I've kept my word with that. And this is ever since we started talking. I just have a certain amount of respect for her. And I kind of feel like a lot of times we have respect for somebody is because they respect you in some kind of way. Right. So Bri's never talked down to me. She's never disrespected me. She never used profane language at me, toward me. She's always been kind-hearted. She's always been gentle to me. And she reminds me a lot of my mom. So that's another thing that attracted me to her. She's very hands-on. She tells it like it is. And you may not want to hear it in the beginning, but it's nothing to hurt you. You understand? So she was that for me. And
that's awesome.
I just have a certain level of respect for her. And she'll tell you that. I don't just I don't talk to her any old kind of way. Yeah. And if I do get out of line a little bit, she'll let me know all right, well, I don't like the way you said that. And I'll correct it. I don't have a problem taking accountability and correcting something that I did wrong, especially when it comes to her. So
I think it's just a time and place for everything. I think it's a time and place and tone for everything. Time, place, tone, right? So I think that definitely understanding one, how am I going to deliver what I have to say, right? I'm very cautious. I think I'm like that as a person anyway, so it just transferred over into our relationship, but I'm very cautious of what I need to tell him. So if he's hurting me in any kind of way, and again, he's never physical or anything like that, so usually verbal, what he said in a moment is usually, okay, what tone did he say it in? how is he expressing himself? The same thing with me. Like, all right, I need to get this out. I know I can be very passionate. And as a Black and Puerto Rican woman, I can get very loud sometimes. So I have to tone it down, right, babe? Yes. So I have to realize my own tone. Like, okay, you're very passionate about what you're going to say. You need to lower your voice. And I mean, for me, it's like lower my voice to is like almost like a whisper, so that when it starts to get a little bit higher,
you can get it. Yes.
normal speaking,
yes.
right? I'm not getting loud and easy. It's just like, hey, babe, like when you did this, whatever. So definitely tone, definitely where are we, right? We're not in front of the kids. We're not in front of company. We're not in a place that is going to be uncomfortable. It's like in our bedroom or home alone or in the car by ourselves. Hey, babe, last night I didn't want to bring this up probably, but I just want you to know X, Y, and Z. Usually doesn't happen last night because, like I said, we usually talk everything out before we go to sleep. If it is something that he said in the morning, or it's usually not that. For me and Brian is really, really, really him on social media with this daggone brand of his that I love, but it be time consuming. So I'm getting in the car. I just got out of work. He picks me up from work every day, which is like
beautiful.
Unbelievable. You do. He picks me up from work every day.
That's so beautiful.
Sometimes I get in the car. He gets out the car. He gives me a kiss. He hugs me. He opens the door for me. I'm telling you, Shivery is not dead. I get in the car, and then sometimes he's just on the phone, and I'm like, okay, I just got out of work. I got a lot to vent about from this daggone job of mine, and you're my only soundboard right now, so I need you to get off the phone. Like, I need you, babe. Babe, are you gonna get off the phone now? He's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, thank you.
That's so good. That is so good. And they put the scripture up. She said that she, the Ephesians 4:26, speaks on not letting the sun go down, on your anger. And they put that up, and that is so true. So basically, you guys are okay with being emotionally naked because you care enough about each other to be able to, even if something happens, the recovery is quick. Which is good. That's good. Okay, so let's talk about so being you segued into it, Bri, talking about his business, about the business. You kind of touched on it. So there has to now, as relationships grow and visions grow, and visions that were on paper now become out there, right? Now things begin to shift because now certain time is allotted to the vision, certain understanding now is off of paper. So now it's about, this is the real deal. We got legs to this thing. So there comes the compromise. There comes the understanding. That's why relationships never cease to stop growing, because as long as you grow, things in your life will continue to grow and prosper and evolve. And so that's what happens with a lot of people, not just your generation, but across the board, where you start out the gate together. You start out the gate as friends. Visions are in you and him, however, him or her, I should say. And then what happens a lot of times is one person stays here and the other person begins to move. Suddenly there's that breach now. And then it becomes trouble because this one is either left behind or doesn't want to grow or doesn't. So now so that's another paying attention to what's going to happen in this relationship. So now that Brian, talk about how you became the great designer, and you got to give me a T-shirt or something. I mean, you got to send Auntie something so I can rock it. So they be like, where you get them from? Check this old lady out with these pants. Right? It's like, I could be the model for my. So anyway, how did this start? Like, were you always a person to draw, to design? How did this gift come to pass?
Okay, so
hold on. We gotta put a couple comments up. Hold on. Emotionally naked. Wow, that is a serious hurt.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's hard to recover from if somebody don't love you like these two love each other.
Yeah.
And Vaughn had to leave. We say bless him. He's going to another panel in the YouTube streets. And then Nay says, you two are so cute together. I love how you look at each other. Right? Isn't that amazing? Nay, I know. I'm watching it too. Okay, let's talk about this clothing line.
So in high school, I started drawing. That was like actually like my favorite. It was between that and language arts, but I couldn't wait to go to art class. I always knew like that's my free time to just really like
Wow.
let go, right? And I started drawing. Well, they had, you always have a like what they give you in class to draw.
Right.
Whenever it was free time, I was drawing clothes. So I was always into the fashion industry. I always wanted to know what fashion was about. And my mom put me on the train at 16 for the first time by myself. And I didn't come back home since then. I was always in Soho. Yeah. I was around. I was in the stores. I was playing basketball in my neighborhood. After a while, they never saw me again. Wow. I was always in the city. Because fashion was just a big thing for me. Like ever since I was young, like certain sneakers, the way people wear their clothes, attitude, how they put things together. That was all in colors. I'm big on colors too. So I started working at Atrium NYC back in the day. I wasn't even supposed to be on the sales floor, but they had me on the sales floor. And they were like, let's just see what you can do. Because I was like that into clothes. Materials, how things fit, having knowledge about certain things, right? When it comes to a garment. So I was big on that. So they had me on the sales floor. I think my first year, I think I made $90,000. I was 21 years old.
Wow.
And that's the most money I ever seen in my life. I really felt like my mom couldn't tell me nothing at that point. Like nothing. I feel like I'm making my own money. I don't got to ask for nothing. That whole thing.
Right.
Atrium closed down. I had a chance to make a lot of contacts with different celebrities and athletes there. If anybody knows Atrium, that was like the mecca of like any celebrity you can think of. I've met a great handful, and I'm talking big celebrities like Rihanna, Kanye, a slew of football players, John Wall, like a lot of people I met at this store. So it opened my eyes to a bunch of things. And then like around Atrium at the time, well, it still is in Soho, is like everything fashion. You look on the street, and the most outrageous things, right? Somebody's actually the most amazing, like the most outrageous things to wear. People were actually wearing that on the street in Soho at the time. So then I was like, wow, this is crazy. I remember I was on Bleecker Street one day, and Ralph Lauren was walking down the street just by herself, no security, no nothing. I'm like, wow, Soho was a whole nother world for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. So then after that, I was big on denim. If anybody knows Atrium was where you went for denim. The biggest denim retailer in the city, so everybody was going there. So I got into denim heavy. I was just attracted to how jeans fit. I like the way they look, if they all beat up or if they're clean, just how to wear it. I was big on that. Different fits. I was huge, like major. At one point, Auntie, I had 120 pairs of jeans in my closet.
Oh my goodness!
I was only probably wearing 5 pairs.
I was getting ready to say they still sitting there.
Yeah. I was that in love with denim, like really in love with denim. So then it was this brand called PRPS. The head designer, his name was oh my God, Don Juan Harrell. That was his name. It was a brand called PRPS, and they used to do seminars. So on a Saturday morning, we opened up at 9. We had to be there at 7 for the seminar. So they come in and tell you all about the denim, what they do to treat it, how they got it to be this color, why they put rips in it, and the whole inspiration behind the denim. I just fell in love with that. So I would go home, and it wasn't coming out the way I wanted it to.
I used to burn down his mother's house, Auntie Sheila.
He did what?
How to burn down his mother's house and kill everybody in the daggone house.
I used to bleach jeans to get them to be a certain look. And to dry them, I used to hang them in the boiler room. So the bleach smell would come up through the vents. My mother would be like, boy, I'm about to kill you in here. You about to kill us. What are you doing? So she tolerated that. And when she found out I had a talent in that, she was just like, no, this is like just bigger than you just hanging clothes in the boiler room.
Right.
Like you're on to something, like you're trying to do something.
Right.
On that gift, early, even from me drawing and all those things. And I was like, Mom, I'm gonna start a clothing line. So I started selling jeans in school. They had gave me money in the church one time. I went to school for a little bit. I went to school for maybe like a year, and then I dropped out when I started working. I had a death in the family, and it just totally threw me. I was like,
Okay.
yeah. So I stopped going to school, and I started working. So after Atrium closed down, I worked at the Gap.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you.
I wasn't too happy about that because Atrium is like a club store, like a store at a club version. Like anybody's gonna walk through those doors.
Yeah.
Right? So when that closed down like that, like a lot of people was heartbroken behind that because that was like the store. Then they opened up Kith, which is partners, which is like oh my God. It's like a streetwear store. Like, it sells sneakers, not as high fashion as Atrium was, but they sell sneakers and streetwear and stuff like that. So they started that. I worked for that company for some years, and at this point, it's up to date. I started getting better at doing what I was doing. Right. So when I first started making jeans, nobody was paying attention to it. I'm not gonna lie, nobody was paying me any attention. Then one day, I made a pair of jeans. I was working in Kith in Brooklyn. I walked on the sales floor, and all I heard somebody was like, "Yo, where you get those pants from?" And I'm looking at him like, "What? These pants?" He's like, "Yeah, these pants." I was like, "Well, they don't sell those here." He's like, "Well, like, how you get them?" And then I was like, "Well, I made them." And he's like, "You made them?" He's like, "I'll pay you to make me a pair."
Wow.
And at that point, I didn't really know how to set my prices, so I was just like, 150, man. He was like, 150? You sure 150? I'm like, yeah, 150. Just, yeah. Made a pair of pants, and then somebody else came, and then a good friend of mine that was shop with me all these years, like even at Atrium, he's like, I've been looking on, and I saw somebody with these pants, and you actually have them on. Like, whose pants? I was like, mine. He was like, what? This is yours? I'm like, yeah. I make them. So I couldn't really be out in the open with it while I was at Atrium because at Kith, conflict of interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to keep it on the low, and the more people that were buying the pants, the more people that were coming in the store. So now you have people coming in the store instead of shopping for Kith with me, you're asking me for my clothes.
Yes.
Yes.
Look at God.
Right. So a good friend of mine, his name is Jay High. He was at a summer tournament. Anybody knows, like, basketball tournaments in New York City is like the thing. Everybody's outside. So he wore a pair of pants to, I think it was Dykeman. It was Dykeman's basketball tournament, and he sent me the pictures. I posted the pictures, and I posted it. I saw it was like 10 likes. Then it went up to 50 likes, and then it was like 125 likes. And I'm looking like, what's going? Like, what? And it's not only just likes; it's people commenting like, "Where did I get these pants from?" And it got to a point where I was like, "Okay, this is getting too big, and I need to either leave here,
right,
or find some kind of weird way to keep this going while I'm working here." And it didn't work. So I called her. I said, "Babe," and we've been talking about it because I was like, I've been in retail for so long, and I'm just like, I need to do something for myself. I think I need to, take a chance on myself. Called her. I said, "Babe, I don't know how long I'm gonna be at Kith."
And he kept saying it. I don't know how long I'll be. I said, so just do it. Just do it. Stop
talking about it. Yeah.
Stop talking about it. The next time you call me about this, I'm gonna tell you, you better call me with some news that you quit. Because I'm tired of hearing that you want to, if this is what you want to do, you want to bet on yourself, then bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Bet. No, we will be okay. I believe that you'll do what it takes, to make sure that your family is fine.
Yeah.
And bet on yourself. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out.
Yeah. So so the day that I told her that, and this is where I feel like my prayers were answered. And I mean, people may look at it like, wow, that was kind of crazy, but I will tell you the story. I was always praying like, God, just give me a sign, like just help me to take this leap of faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
After we were on the FDR. I was on the FDR driving home. We were living in Connecticut at the time. I was driving home, and she was about to go into a therapy session. I called her with that conversation. As soon as we hung up, not even 5 minutes later, I was on the FDR and I got into a car accident. Yeah. Car totaled.
Enemy board. Anytime you get a breakthrough, getting ready to take off, there he is.
So I lose the car. I thought I was gonna lose my life that day. I called her. I said, babe, and I paused. She was like, what? I was like I was calling her and she was in a therapy session. She didn't pick up. So I texted her, I said 911. And she's like, what? So she called me. I was like, babe, I was in an accident. She's like, what? I just got off the phone with you. I said, yeah, I was just in an accident. My car is like finished. So I take that as a sign. But at that, a lot of people look at that situation like, God was favorable, like he was mercy to you, and he was. But I also felt like that was a sign of him telling me, like, it's time. You can sit home, like, stay home. Let me just show you, because I was taking so long to just take that leap.
To take that leap.
Like, yo, just trust me. Everything you ask me for, I give to you.
And it'll happen like that. And they says, thank you, Bri, for being an example of a wife supporting her husband.
Yeah,
she is.
So, I went home that day.
Wow.
We were in the house, and I'm just like, all right, what now?
Were you hurt? Were you had to recover?
No, I wasn't even hurt.
Not a scratch.
Not a scratch, no nothing. Mind you, the car is going, Auntie, everybody that knows the FDR during like the 4 or 5 o'clock hour is crowded.
It's
People
crazy.
Speeding, trying to get home.
It's crazy.
And I come around this curve, and it's like one of those tanks people use to gas up houses.
Mm-hmm.
It's like somebody dropped it off of a truck, and it was like right there. And I couldn't move. The car swerving in and out of lanes. I'm like, I'm about to die tonight. It's about to happen. This is how my life is going to end. And God kept me. And I made it all the way to the Bronx before it just like shut off totally. Bri came and stayed with me. They came and got the car, took the car away, and I sat home. And I just
began the working.
Yeah, it just work. And 1 pair of jeans a week turned into 2 pair of jeans a week, then 2 pair turned into 3, and 4 pair turned into 4. It was like that. That's how it happened. And I just felt like it was just God just saying, like, just let me show you. Just look.
Right. Trust me. I got you.
And it's been my rent ain't been late. I mean, it's been late. It's been late, but it's been paid.
Right.
So it's been paid. So now we're in a house now. Rent ain't never late.
Right.
It hasn't been for months. I think in the first couple of months, it was rocky. And I think that for him, and I think that this is where, God tests you. He'll let you know, like, believe what I have for you, right? It's not going to be an easy road, but you definitely have to believe. And I think Brian definitely, for me to have been in church for so long, right? Sometimes you think, full of faith in the world. No, Brian has more faith than me. And I will tell that to anybody that asks me that question, okay? Yeah. He was like, babe, it's going to come. He was never stressed. Or if he was stressed, he never let me see that he was stressed. And I'm just like, what's going to happen this month? What's going on? How's the pants going? You selling them? What's going on? Just so that, I can have a backup plan of what I need to do to help.
Yeah.
Because one thing, again, Sherry is not dead. Brian pays the rent. Like, that is just something that coming into a relationship, he always said, nope, that is something I want to pay for. There's nothing ever splitting. I don't do the whole splitting situation. Yeah. I'm paying the rent. I take care of my family. I take care of my household, and that's that. So I, as a supportive person, I don't mind. I done pay rent by myself. I don't mind. Just tell me what I need to do. We'll figure it out. And Brian's like, nope, God got us in this. He's gonna get us through it, and I'm gonna have the rent. I'm gonna have the rent.
Yeah.
Wow.
And unfaithfully, he has paid it on his own. He has not asked me for a dime. And even more so now, I think, again, it was like the first 3 months, it was kind of rocky because we were coming out of the pandemic. So this wasn't even happening at a quote unquote good time.
Right.
In my head, I'm thinking nobody's going out. Nobody's doing anything. People
right. Exactly.
What jeans are people buying right now? And then how are they even going to find out who you are? Mm-hmm. This is just, I don't know how this is going to work, but bet on yourself. Because I told you, bet on yourself. We'll pray about it, but bet on yourself.
Yeah. And
faithfully, this man works hard. He is hard working, but he definitely, to your point, I think he definitely knows how to balance the two. Like when we do have conversations about, can't get him home right now.
Yeah.
He'll fix it. But I definitely think that he's very cognizant of how much time he's spending with Roberta Lamont and how much time he needs to dedicate to his family. And not just with me. The kids come and he has to stop and do homework with them. He feeds them. He cooks. This is not ordering out. Brian will go to the store and buy a whole meal to chef it up in the kitchen for us to eat that night. And it's putting them to sleep, getting them ready in the morning, making sure he goes shopping for them. Like everything that he needs to do plus his business, you would think that the man will be drained. And I don't know how much energy this man has, but he has it.
I'm a machine, baby. I'm a machine.
And also not just jeans. He has hats and shirts now, and
suits.
I mean, and he has all types of things, sweatsuits and everything. And your name it's a buzz with your name right now. It's so amazing. Do you know Dapper Dan?
I don't know him, but I do know of him. Yes, I know exactly.
Well, I'll have to introduce you to him. He's a good friend of mine, and he's doing a lot. I mean, and one thing about him, Gucci and all the top brands want him to come downtown, and he said he makes them come up to Harlem and to his brownstone. He will not leave. The Gap, all of them who have deals with him now, he's really get major deals, and he started like you. He started and it was a buzz. He started at the late 70s, early 80s, but he always loved fashion like you. Yeah. His dad used to talk to him. He used to go to Africa and look and learn about fashion. So when you're telling your story, Dapper Dan in his book, he talks about, because people never know when it started. Right. They just see it happen and explode, but they don't know the grind and the hustle and not having something to really make something. And then all of a sudden he became, because one person wore it and, another person wore it. And so with you, it's a buzzword going on about you right now. And I'm watching you on IG and I'm watching I can't wait to see this huge walkway fashion show that you're going to do, because it's coming. I see it. I see it. I see us sitting right there supporting you, and your line coming on the runway. I see it. I see it. And so this is absolutely incredible. Just the fact of how you guys started the friendship. You really waited 4 years for her to even say, I'll date you.
Yeah, I wasn't moving.
My little niece had you like in the cut, like, okay, she made you work hard,
And then Auntie, had the nerve to tell me, you know what? You better have asked me to go out with you, because if you would have got the relationship with dating somebody else, it would have been a problem. Had the nerve to tell me that.
She told you that after she made you work 4 years. Blind guy, his wife, their life. Thank you so much for being here. Good evening to the lovely couple with all the gear. Yes. And you guys always tell you to go to these channels. These are my friends, and subscribe to their channels. This is a good channel where they could even have you on as guests to talk about how this started with your gear and everything. But I'm so excited about what's going on with you. College graduate, Bri, you are assistant principal right now. And my vision of Bri, listen, I knew it when she was in the belly of my niece, right? So I watched her grow and go to school and she was always a good little girl. She was that perfect little girl. Yeah. She never gave her mom any trouble. She was always obedient. She was just as you see her now. And to see her evolve into, graduating college and her job that she got at the school and working with children, but then how she became assistant principal, that was straight Jesus. That was a straight God move. It was a God move. I tell you, he will shift things around. So what's it like for you, Bri, since you've been in the school system? Right now, the school system is kind of different. The children are different because they have different challenges. Tell us a little bit about that.
I think it's difficult. I think that you have to have a passion for children. I think you need to understand where you work. I think that's true of anybody in any environment, but definitely with little human beings that are the future of our generation. I definitely think that when I'm having conversations with my staff, it's definitely pertaining to, you chose to work here. You know, they did not choose you, you chose them. And so understanding that they are going to be a product of their environment, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, is for us as educators to be in partnership with the family, in partnership with the community, to make them better, to give them the resources that they need that they may not have at home. And so when I look at those kids in the morning, I'm shaking their hands, I'm walking through the hallways, I could decipher whether a kid ate that day. That's how real it is for me. I could decipher whether or not that kid had sleep last night. It's really easy for me to pick up on vibrations from these students and to be able to understand their energy levels or what they need and what they don't need. You know, it's not about talking down to a kid. It's not about the power struggle of you're a kid, I'm an adult, you got to listen to me and be obedient. It's about understanding that they have traumas too. You know, I work in the South Bronx, is, you know, it's a very heavy, dense population that I'm dealing with, and the struggles and the traumas that they have. I mean, there's disparities unknown, you know, like you don't even know what COVID did to half of these kids, and even prior to COVID, what they were going through. And so definitely trying to shift over a little bit and get our staff members to be on board with what our kids need. I think it's hard because nationwide we are in a bad place with education. You know, the educational system is not the best system. It is not. There's a lot of inconsistencies within the system, a lot of things to set our kids up for failure. I think that right now there's a ton of vacancies coming back from COVID. We've learned a lot of things about families. We learned a lot of things about kids. Kids learned a lot of things about being home. And I think that right now we call it post-COVID. We're still in COVID, but the traumas that these kids face while being home, locked behind doors in homes where they get freedom coming to school every day, believe it or not. And although a lot of our teachers don't see that, and I'm not talking about just in my school, I'm talking about teachers worldwide, they don't understand that. It is the truth. A lot of our kids, they come to school seeking asylum, right? Seeking comfort, seeking freedom of choice, seeking friendship, seeking relationships, or yearning for relationships they don't have at home with their own family members. And you are that person for them. And I think that I take my position very seriously, but at the same time, I'm very cautious of how I talk to kids. I'm very cautious of how I talk to families. I'm very cautious of what I say and how I say it and the kids that's around me. You know, this week we had Spirit Week at work. I'm constantly going in the building, dressing like the kids. I'm like, what we doing tomorrow, guys? What sneakers we matching with? You know, trying to get them to just like the environment of being at school. Like, we're at a place right now that our kids don't even want to go to high school. We're at a place where our kids don't even want to go to college. I think that for my generation, it's been, we want to go to college. We want to get that 6-figure salary. We want to do all of these things. And our kids right now is they want to be YouTubers. They want to be social media influencers. They want to be eyelash techs and do nails. Be entrepreneurs, but don't really understand the pathway of being an entrepreneur. Like, I have to have real life conversations as a math head that I used to teach math as a teacher, and now I'm the assistant principal. I have to have real life conversations about, hey guys, well, what does it take to be an entrepreneur? Because you guys think that it's just an easy task, and it's not. You know, follow through is a big thing that I'm seeing that our kids struggle with. They do not have consistency. It's whatever they see in the moment. I want instant gratification. I want it now. And I don't want to work for it. I just want you to present it to me and give it to me. And that's just not how life works. And it's a big difference. You have to understand that, you know, baby boomers versus where we are now, the kids, Gen Zs, Gen X, all of them have different perceptions of life. You know, I think baby boomers wanted something that their parents didn't give them, and vice versa. You keep going with the generations. People want what they never had. If my parents out there doing drugs at this point in time, I don't want to do that. I want to be better. I need to make 6 figures. Now these 6-figure salary parents are giving their kids everything and more, and they have nothing to work towards for some of them. Some of these family members don't have 6 figures. They sit at home, and maybe some of them are on, you know, government assistance and things of that nature, and they're looking at the kids to get them out, you know. So there's a lot put on our kids. I work with middle schoolers. I don't work with high school or elementary, and even them, they have a ton of responsibilities that sometimes people don't even know. You know, you walk past kids in the street, and oftentimes I hear grown-ups say, yeah, we got some disrespectful kids in this world, but them disrespectful kids are coming from homes with disrespectful adults. Like, we have to be able to acknowledge that. And oftentimes when I'm having conversation with parents, I'm like, yeah, but we have to start taking some kind of accountability for some of our actions too. Like this kid is not just waking up, acting out. And if they are acting out, they want some kind of attention. Yeah. So I think that, you know, acknowledging where they are, being consistent for them. I think right now with the vacancies in schools, they need consistency. I know that us as adults, we're doing what's right for us. We want to jump from school to school. We want to go to the school that's popping. That's going to give us more time off. That's going to give us what we need, this, that, and the third. But what happens to our kids when you do that? What happens to our kids when you leave? What happens to the kids that's here when you go out? Your fantasy, your pay to increase, and your this and your that and the third. What happens to them? They're still in school. They still have to be here. They don't have a teacher. They have substitutes coming in that don't care, that could care less sometimes from these subbing agencies. And it's just bad. I think about our future and where these kids are going to be. And I'm like,
scary.
It's a very scary place.
Wow, but you are giving so much, Bri. I am so proud of you. You are giving, because you know, when you were younger, you didn't talk a lot. You know, you were very quiet, you know, but your mom was quiet like that when she was young. You know, she just sat there. She wasn't the talker. And you weren't the talker when you were a little girl. You were very to yourself, very quiet, very polite. But when God has a purpose and when it's cultivated, that thing's got to wake up. Right? Got to wake up, because you had the right tools, the right resources. You went through your own traumas or whatever, but you overcame them because of the foundation that was placed in you and the family. We have a good family, you know, and we pull people up when we're down. You know, you say, pull a sister up, pull a brother up, you know. But I am so very proud of you. Someone in the comment wants to know how to get your clothing, Brian.
Oh,
give me your handle.
Yeah, so you can reach me. I'm sorry, at Remington Lamont. It's REMINGTON.Lamont, LAMONT. That's my Instagram handle. And all purchases are made inside my DM. I deliver or ship to you. It takes 3 to 5 days to make a pair of pants.
Well, these pants that everyone's screaming about, and I know I've seen people, I mean, they international now. You know, people are begging for your stuff now, and you've moved from pants to tops to hats. You have a pair of pants next to you. What you got next to you? You got something over there? What you got over there? I should have had some slides in here to show the people. But they're very different and unique. No one can copy these pants.
I have these.
Yeah, show the legs, because I know you have the leggings, the leg part. Yeah.
So like these are one pair, but this is like a funky pair that I did. This is a one-on-one pair. Only one person's gonna have these. Nobody else has them. You guys can see them.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's like custom. That's like okay.
Yeah. So I have those. This is a pair I made for Brianna. This is like green and pink. You guys can see.
Pull them up a little bit. Hold them up. I see that part. Show the leg part.
Oh, the leg part.
Next time I'll have you on. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people rocking your stuff, modeling your stuff on IG, and it's like getting a lot of hoopla, a lot of attention. And you got the shirts, you got sweatsuits now. I saw Shushu with a sweatsuit on. Yeah, the sweatsuits are very, very nice. And let me put this comment up real quick. I have to acknowledge this. Sandra said maybe it isn't Jay. Jay was her son. But my heart goes out to this couple, especially in the line of sewing. Her son was into fashion. He ate, slept, and drank it like you. Nice. Oh my God. And he passed away. He passed away young, very young, very young. So I'm sure this conversation is touching her heart. And she says, I can't wait to buy your line of clothing.
Thank you so much.
She wants to support it. So I knew that this was, touching for her, because he was some designer. So let me see. Blind Guy and his wife, their life, said, yes, these children need to love and understand in their formative years. COVID added to the challenges of this information age with everyone chasing bags.
Yeah. And they'll do it at any cost.
At any cost.
And that's the scary part.
Yep.
Any cost.
Scariest.
Wow. So Oh, this has been wonderful. We talked about your life, we talked about school and work. So what's in the near future? Because we're celebrating you, your entrepreneurship, but we're celebrating love in the air. We're celebrating love in the air. I love love, and I love that you guys are so cute, so in love, how you respect each other. And I know on your picture you got hashtag goals on it.
Yeah. Yep.
GOALS. And
Yeah.
that word is power. It's a power word, goals. So
Yeah.
you guys are striving to reach different goals. What is in the future for you?
Well, for me, I'm just gonna keep pushing the brand. I eventually do want to have my own store. I want to, but I want it to be set up almost like a bespoke type situation. Somebody could come in and actually get their jeans made in the store, opposed to just buying clothes on the sales floor. Actually, have a system set in place where people could come in and actually get their jeans customized to where nobody else will have them. That's what I want the store to be like. And ultimately, well, actually, it's two things. The clothes that I make now for people, I have every item is numbered. I don't know if people pay attention to that. People that pay attention, they'll probably see that. But every item is numbered. And I did that for a reason, because once I really do make it big, I'm going to have an auction to buy back all of the items that I made by hand when I was doing that.
What?
Yes, that's what I want to do. That's my ultimate. And then it's the other thing is I want to start a campus or a university for creatives to come and actually be assisted. Like people can help them with their careers and what they're trying to do, whether it be photography, music, fashion, design, marketing, anything that has to do with the industry. I want to create a school for that, like an academy for that. And that's my ultimate thing. Like if there was a such thing as the end, I would want it to end off with that.
Yes.
Right?
And I know that, you're going to get bankers and backers behind you, because that's all you need is a huge cash flow.
Yes.
And manufacturing and keep it authentic and whatever. And I know that if God gives us visions, but he also attaches the resources to the vision.
Absolutely.
You just have to keep trusting him and keep doing what you're doing, because he's watching you by faith, how you connected. And so, I mean, it's already caught on like wildfire. That one person that came into that shop you was working at and said, like, where can I find those pants? And you was like, well, you can't. You mean, what do you can? Where'd you get them?
Right.
What you mean? Like, you know how people are too, especially in New York. Like, what
absolutely.
you mean? He's like, well, I made them. You made them. How much? And then when you gave him that price of $150, he was like, yo, you serious? Like that's all 150. But but look how the beginning, never despise the small beginnings, right? Because God is in the mix. He is in the mix.
Yes,
and what's next for you, my dear Bri?
Well, I'm finishing my master's now. I have to send in my last portfolio so I can get my master's in the mail.
Yes.
But besides that, I definitely want to open up my own school. That is my big goal for myself. Maybe like a 10-year goal. But definitely want to open up my own school in the tri-state area. I think that mission and vision is definitely where I am in terms of just wanting to make sure that our kids have the right people in their lives to continue to help them foster better relationships and have an end goal. I think that when you speak life into kids, they can see light at the end of their dark tunnel, and I think that just understanding that kids have feelings, they have emotions, they're people, they deal with a lot, they take it all in, it's stored muscle memory, right? It's stored into their brains, is what they tap into, is what they grow up with. And going to therapy it has helped me to know that the little girl inside of you is still there, and it still cries out for things at the ages of 20, 25, 27, 30. And I think that if we are able to limit the traumas, right? Because there's going to be trauma no matter what lifestyle you're brought up into. You're always going to have trauma. But we are able to limit the trauma that our kids face. I think that we will be better off in the future. I think right now we're all fighting for the little people inside of us. And so we step on each other sometimes in order to allow our little voices to come out. And I think that we just need to do a better job as a community to uplift each other. And it starts young.
Amen.
It starts young.
Amen. I did put Remington.Lamont in the chat. I did put it in the chat. That is Brian's IG page. And then their other IG page is the Bri and Brian Show on IG. The Bri and Brian Show on IG. Well, I thank you so very much. I want to give you the last words. You know, everyone knows that I say when nothing changes, and that you have to keep it moving, right? Because if you want change, you have to start a change, and you have to be an agent of change, of change. And it starts with you. It starts with getting healed from traumas. It starts to get the broken pieces put back together again and being connected to the Lord so that he can help you to get from a place of pain to power and from power to victory. And so I thank you so very much. I'm so proud of you. Both of you, so very proud. Brian, you were ready. I knew it wasn't time when I had Bri. She said, he's not ready yet. I said, okay, he's going to be ready because we can pray. we said we're going to touch and agree and pray, didn't we, Bri?
Yes.
He's going to be ready. Much success to you. It's getting ready to explode. I even sent some of your links to California to some people who dress like with that real edgy, because it's edgy. Your stuff is edgy and it's different. And it's, you know, and like you said, you make one of a kind gear. And I just see it exploding. It's getting ready to happen. So get ready. And so I want you to give the last words to the advice and to what you would say to couples. What would you would say to someone who is struggling with a vision and think they can't do it? You don't have to elaborate, but I just want you to end this with, you know, as a couple, what you think you should share with those that will see this, your generations and generations, period, about love, about commitment, and about respecting each other. Just what do they need to get to where you are?
Sure. Yeah. You gotta love each other. You gotta love more. I kind of feel like this generation is so stuck on, and I'm not going to ask for forgiveness when I say this because there's nothing wrong with what I'm saying. What I will say is I feel like this generation is so stuck on the trends that social media set in place for them. And because we're so heavy in social media, you wake up, you look at social media every day, and it's not hard to get sucked into that, right? So a lot of times, whatever their agenda is on social media, it reflects in the culture and the kids of today. And I always say this: there's nothing wrong with social media. It's just what you use it for, right?
Correct.
We have to, but as far as couples go, we have to love each other more. I was just telling Bri the other day, I was watching an old interview or somebody posted on Instagram, and they asked this old couple. I think the guy was 96 and the woman was 98, or I think she could have been 97, right? And they asked him, well, like, how you guys stay together so long? And the one, and the wife sits up and she's like, y'all just need to be nice to each other. Continue to be nice, consistently nice to each other. And nice in a sense, not saying I'm always just, oh, how you doing it? But even in the bad times, you can still be nice.
Right,
because
true.
I'm angry doesn't mean that she's upset, right? So at that time, in that moment, a lot of times she calms me down. And when she's upset, I'm not as upset as she is. So I calm her down. Yeah. And it just has to work, right? And just because, you know, it doesn't work out with one person doesn't mean it doesn't have to happen. It doesn't mean it can't happen with somebody else. Because I also believe in not everybody is for everybody, but there's somebody for everybody.
Yes, that's good. Right? That's good.
So, yeah, man, that's what I stand by. That's what our relationship stands on. We respect each other.
Yes.
And we love each other.
What's up, Bri?
Yeah.
I would say love each other. Be open to each other, communicate, don't go to sleep angry ever. And definitely understand that you're both human. You both make mistakes. You are both liable to say something wrong. Yeah. I don't think one person needs to be more accountable than the other. Forgiveness is a long way, but asking for forgiveness is even better. I think coming to the table and saying, hey, I'm sorry, or hey, did I hurt you so that I can be sorry, and understand why you're really sorry and mean you're sorry.
Yeah.
Don't just say sorry just to get over it.
Yeah.
Comfortable with the little measly old surface level conversation. Ask deeper questions. That's what I would say. I think it took for me to actually ask Brian deeper questions for us to be able to understand why you respond in the way that you do, why your body reacts, right, in the way that it does, why you go into the mode that you go into, why you shut down, why you can't speak, why you feel stuck, why you feel complacent, why you feel like you can't just open up, why you feel like you can't be vulnerable. It takes some deeper questions. And so I definitely think that don't just leave it as it is. You good? Yeah, I'm good. No, you're not good. Say when you're not good. It's okay. Right. It's okay to be vulnerable with the right person.
Yeah.
Right.
It's okay to be vulnerable with the right person. I'll say that. And two, I will say, make sure y'all align. You align in what your foundation is. If you try to get yourself outside of yourself, get somebody outside of who you are, it's never gonna work.
Right, correct.
For people in the club, you're not a club goer, you in the wrong lane.
You're in the wrong lane.
You will find somebody in your lane if you stay in.
For sure. For sure.
Somebody else in somebody else's lane that was meant for somebody else, and it's going to be a harder time to go back to your lane and refine yourself. You have to understand that when you put yourself in a lane that's not yours, you lose yourself. You lose control.
True.
You can't just keep going with your car. You lose control of the steering wheel. It's not your steering wheel anymore.
Yeah, you can't fit.
So you can't fit. You're not easy. You got to readjust the rear view mirror. You got to readjust the side mirror. You don't know where you at. You need a GPS to find your way back. I mean, we all need Jesus, definitely. But you went so far left that you don't even know who you are anymore. You understand?
And that happens. Yeah.
It takes you out of character. You have to refine yourself. You walk into other relationships, not even know who you are. Take a step back, relearn yourself if you need to, but stay in your lane, and you will definitely find the person that's meant for you in your lane.
Look at y'all with your young self, with your old souls. Let's put these comments up real quick. And they says, thank you for sharing your journey.
Thank you so
Praying
much.
for so much success for each of you. Dawn B, my co-host, says, beautiful story and many blessings on your future goals. You're both already a success. And they says that she love y'all. And they says that I just requested to follow their IG page.
Yes.
And Blind Guy, his wife, their life. You need to subscribe. Y'all subscribe to their channel. He said wise words. So many people are saying they enjoyed this. And those of you in the bleachers, we love you. Thank you for being here with us. And I didn't put this up here. I don't know if I had said, wonderful to hear your motivating stories. Yes. This was so wonderful. This was right on time. This is his IG page, Remington.Lamont. Remington.Lamont on Instagram. Those of you old folks that don't know what IG is, it's Instagram.
Right.
Check me out, right?
You got it, Auntie.
And so listen, I think Blind Guy says your IG. Okay, so I put the IG in already. Much respect to all of you. Listen, it's been a wonderful night. This has been awesome. Oh boy, I love this interview. I love it. And I know many are going to come and watch it. Those of you can like it and share it. But I'm so happy this will be up on my page so people that can come after the fact and watch it, because that's what happens a lot of times if they're not present right here in the chat. They come after the fact. And if you guys need a copy, just come and grab it and take it with you, because it'll be up on the Bravo page. But once again, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, the profound part of my heart, for accepting the invitation. Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so you guys stay right there while I close the show. All right, you wonderful people in the chat. Listen, it's been awesome here with me tonight. I am so glad that you stopped by. Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, let's chat. We had the Brave Bros in the house tonight. I tell you, we just not about the females. We're about the brothers as well. And the Bravettes was in the building. So we're really, really happy about tonight. Let's see, next week we got a great show on Tuesday. We're positioning ourselves for March, which is the month for women. And I'll be doing some great interviews. But we also have a couple of other great interviews coming up for Black History next week. So tune back into Bravo with Sheila. Those of you who pop over across the YouTube streets to SIM Broadcast, Sheila Ingram Ministry Broadcast, Word Thirst. Are you thirsty? Word Thirst at the Kabod. I'm there live on Wednesdays at 12 noon. Preaching, teaching, and shouting with Jesus, having a good time. So y'all can go over there across the YouTube streets and check me out on Wednesday. Sir Hale, Blind Guy, all of you wonderful people in Yay, M. Mills, Dawn B, all of you in the fleet. Listen, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are out of here. We are out of here. Now let's see what kind of closing should I do. Should I do us? You know what? I wonder if all of you did this first. Hold on. That thumbs up, subscribe.
Yes, do that.
Hit that button. That free 99, free 99. Just hit that thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell so you know when I go live. We're going to do a soft closing, a 2-second, 3-second closing. You guys stay there. Wait a minute. Somebody put something in the chat. Let's see. Okay, they're saying, yes, these children need love and understanding in there. Okay, we put that up. I missed some comments. I don't like to leave if somebody... Take care, everyone, they saying. And someone saying, I love you, girl, talking about me. Great stream, and they say, and a great fellowship. You know I love you. You know I love you. Stay right there, guys.